WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have Malt Riot. Malt Riot is a blended malt Scotch whisky, Glasgow Vat number 6, produced and blended by Glasgow Distillery in Scotland. 40%. I paid €24.90 for this. Whiskey base number 159619, and it's 40% ABV. So let's see here. Why did they pick the colors? Well, first of all, this is their third release from the Glasgow Distilling Company. The triple distilled release number 1, and so it has basically almost the same type of poppy blue colors. And second of all, the word was, I already use it, pop, because it says here, made for mixing. All right, so this was one of those purchases where I was like, why not? Come on, it's 24 euros. It's not going to kill me. Let's see what they can do, the Glasgow boys here. Now, I must admit, I do have a little bit of a bad feeling about the naming of this bottle, and I want to read the reason why. It says here, Malt Riot Glasgow 1725. Malt Riot tells the tale of the people of Glasgow who came together as one to stand up for what they believed. Yay. It's the year 1725, and the government imposed a tax on Scotland's malted barley. The Scots, foreseeing an increase in the cost of their whiskey, beer, and other daily essentials, rise up in opposition. In Glasgow, malt storages are barricaded. The devilish, excise men are chased from the city, and the home of the local members of parliament and former tax collectors destroyed. Now, this is actually glorifying violence. Glasgow Distilling, I don't know if you really thought about this or not, but in this day and age of political correctness, no. Please do not call your next malt Malt Riot. We do not want to glorify riots, do we? I was in Hamburg during the G20, and it was not fun seeing the people run through the streets and throwing Molotov cocktails into cars and things like that. Not something we should actually be even remotely referring to in a positive manner. Now, I know Scotland and the evil British and all that of history, yes, that's behind us, I hope. But today we don't take something from the past and glorify it as a new brand. As I say to my friends sometimes, shame on you. All right, enough of that. Enough of Jason, WhiskyJason, being politically correct, which surprises my wife every once in a while. Sometimes she says, you're just like an elephant in a China store sometimes, and other times you're like, where did that come from? Sorry. Good. The nose. Surprisingly nice. Now, for a blended malt Scotch, this is not grain, this is not blended Scotch, this is blended malt Scotch. Think of the Johnny Walker 15-year-old that also has here blended malt Scotch. There is no grain in this. This is 5 or 6 different distilleries, all single malt blended together. This is 2. Has no age statement, but it has a fairly inexpensive price. And the nose is actually very luring. I smell it and it's like, oh, this is interesting. I have malt. I have pineapple. I have coconut. I have sugar. I have wood. I have a little bit of lemon. Berries. Honey. This is much, much, much better than expected. Now, I do have a flaw with my reviews. Basically, 2 flaws. The first flaw is I open up the bottle immediately. I do a neck pour video about it, and then after that I do bottle share. So this bottle has already been shared, and the people are actually already waiting on me filling them up into little 5cl and 10cl bottles and sending them off. Not everyone's waiting, but some people are waiting. So I will probably never try this again unless I buy another bottle. That's my first problem there. My second problem is, of course, the thing that all whiskey tubers have is the thing with expectations. So if I expect a whiskey to be here, very, very high, and it's only here, I'm going to actually complain about it for the next 10 minutes. But if I expect a whiskey to be here, and it's actually lower than the other whiskey here, I'm going to praise this whiskey for the next 10 minutes, even though this whiskey is not as good as the other whiskey, which was better. But it has to do with expectations. And so my expectations for this were extremely low. So my expectations were, I don't know if you ever had this, Chivas Regal Extra, don't. Don't buy it. It's one of those 4 minus type of 5. It's so bitter towards the end. It's such a bad product in my personal opinion. The 18-year-old from Chivas Regal 18, fabulous money, value for money, wonderful spirit. I put it in blind tastings every once in a while. People are always surprised. Many of them cannot even identify that it's a blended Scotch. And therefore, I have nothing against blends. I have nothing against Chivas Regal. I just don't like the extra. And I was expecting something around that. I was like, oh, okay, good. Who knows? And then I nosed it, and I was like, wow. And then I tried it. Hmm. Hmm. It's only 40%, no problem. There is a little bit of spice there, but there's some wood, there's some fruit, some berries, some exotic fruits, a tiny little bit of the fruit cocktail. Um, there's some strawberry, very not ripe, not mature strawberry, but it's there. And you have a little bit of honey in there. And there's actually some transitions. They're not major, they're small, but they're much more than I expected. And what really, 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 really surprised me was the color. If you take a look at, I have a little bit left here from my Chivas Regal Extra. You can see how dark that is, I hope. As far as I can see, there's no coloring added. Since it's 40%, it is probably chill filtered because people want to use this for mixing. And so it's a blend of hand-picked single malts from across Scotland with Glasgow 1770 single malt Scotch whisky at its heart. Okay, very well done. Amazing. This is a sea whiskey. If you ever get your hands on this and you can turn a blind eye to the word Riot on the label, sorry, I had to mention that one last time, go for it. I like the design, and this was made for mixing, and I would actually say, hey, this is a summer whiskey. Pour a little bit, put ginger ale in it, go ahead. Put Coke in it, I don't care. Put some ice in a tumbler and pour this over top of it, sit outside on your patio or on your deck or your terrace or whatever, go for it. This is actually, for that price, fabulous. And that's my question of the day. What other blended Scotch malts do you know out there that are actually under the $40, 35 pound, 30, so it should have been 35 euro, 30 pound mark around and about that is actually here comparable? Is there anything out there? Yes, Johnny Walker 15 is about, I can pay €6 more and get the Johnny Walker 15-year-old with an age statement. It has smoke. This has no smoke. At least, if there's smoke in here, I can't recognize it, and I am very sensitive to the peat. Glenwivis had a heritage, I think it was called, malt that they brought out, and let's see here. And it was actually, again, yeah, okay, Glenwivis Highland Inspiration. They actually commemorated the founding of their distillery with the first cornerstone that they put down. So they brought out a whiskey, and I think it was Glengarry. And this tastes very, very similar to that. I might be totally off. It's been a year or two since I've last had that. But it might be a little bit of Glengarry in there. But also, I wasn't a great fan of this. Hopefully my English video will come out of this before this, but it might be the other way around. We'll see. The triple distilled wasn't mine. The first release I liked much better. The second release was peated. It wasn't. I'm not a peat head. And the third release was it just wasn't balanced as I expected it to be. But this is better than expected. Solid C and value for money C plus. All right, so going C plus plus minus B minus minus even for 24 euros for what you're getting here. This is actually nice. Thank you very much for watching. Whiskey Jason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskey. Maybe the distribution will be okay, and you might be able to see this whiskey one day, maybe with a new name, maybe with the same name, who knows. But at the moment, it's definitely at the distillery. It's definitely in the UK, and at the moment, it's in Germany. All the best to you, Whiskey Jason. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.